Hello, welcome. Today we're going to talk about one of the most important parts of your business when it comes to servicing your clients and protecting yourself as a business owner. Today we're going to discuss sanitation. Let's begin by talking about the tools that you will want to have on hand. It may look like I'm about to sit down to eat, but actually, these are some handy, useful tools that you can use to make sure you're working in a clean and sanitary manner. A kitchen knife can be used as a spatula to scoop products out of the pallet. You can also use an item like a coffee stirrer. It's disposable and easy to replace. Or a cute little spoon is great for scooping out products from a skincare jar. I also have a small mirror here, which can be used as a palette to place products on. The next two items are hand sanitizer, which is extremely important to use throughout your applications. Lastly, I have 70% isopropyl alcohol that I put into a spray bottle. 70% is very specific, as 90, 91, and 99% alcohol evaporate too quickly to do an effective job of sanitizing. If you are unable to find 70% isopropyl alcohol, you're going to want to find a cosmetic sanitizer spray, which can usually be found in a professional makeup store or online through a professional makeup supplier. Let's talk about how to work in a clean and sanitary way when it comes to cream products, such as your concealers and foundations. What I like to do is start by using one of my spatulas and scooping the product out. By scooping the product out, you ensure that you never dip a brush that may have bacteria on it into your product. Then I put the product onto a palette. This way, I can work off of the palette with my brush and never have to worry about getting any bacteria or dirt into my palette. Sometimes what you'll notice is a little bit of dirt getting around the edges of your concealer or foundation, or you may somehow get a little bit of concealer transferred from one color to the next. In those cases, what I like to do is take my 70% alcohol or cosmetic sanitizer, spray it on the palette, take a tissue, and wipe it off just for aesthetic purposes. It always looks best to present a nice, clean palette and product when you're working with your clients, doing videos, or taking pictures. Easy. When it comes to powder products, such as eyeshadows, our perfect blushes, the perfect pressed powder, perfect bronzers, you may think you don't need to sanitize it since they don't contain moisture, but you always want to make sure to sanitize. Here's how to sanitize your powder products. Take your 70% isopropyl alcohol or your cosmetic sanitizer, spray the powder products down with the sanitizing product, allow for the alcohol to dry. Then once the alcohol has dried, you can go through with a tissue or paper towel and simply wipe off the first layer of the powder product. Since our products are such high quality, you don't have to worry about the moisture affecting the quality of the product. When it comes to mascara and eyeliner, you always want to be especially mindful because the eyes are an area that you always want to protect from any kind of bacteria or infection. When it comes to our perfect mascara, you never want to use the brush that it comes with from one client to the next. Ensure you always use a disposable wand each time you dip into the mascara. You're going to Let's talk about how to work with our perfect eyeliner pen in the most sanitary manner. You may think that you could simply spray the tip of the brush with alcohol. However, in this case, that won't be effective. What we recommend is taking your perfect eyeliner pen, putting the product onto your palette, and then using a brush to apply the product Lip products are another item that you want to be especially mindful when it comes to sanitation. For our enduring lip liners, you're going to want to twist the pencil so it sharpens it, then remove it from its packaging, spray it with alcohol, wait for it to dry, wipe off the product, then once again put it back into the cap and sharpen it. For our perfect lip gloss, since it has a tube that you have to dip a wand into, like the mascara, you always want to use a brand new disposable tester wand each and every time you dip into the product. So you never use the same wand twice, and you never put a wand back into the tube that's already touched a client's skin. When it comes to lipsticks, lipsticks are a product that I like to use a spatula to scrape a little of the product off of the tube. Then I would transfer it onto my palette and use a lip brush to apply to my client. This way you never transfer bacteria from one person's lips to another, and you always work in the most sanitary manner. When it comes to our skincare products, there's a few that you want to be especially mindful of. For instance, the Eye Eye Serum. This is one of my favorite products, and one of the beautiful features of it is the ceramic applicator. However, since the product gets absorbed back into the tube, you actually don't want to use this directly on clients because it could transfer bacteria from one client to the next. So in the case of testing or sampling the Eye Serum, you would just want to put some of the product out onto your palette and then work with a brush to apply it to your client. When it comes to products that are in a jar, you want to be mindful of double dipping. You never want to double dip. So my recommendation is to take a spatula, look how beautiful, or a cute little spoon to scoop some out and then allow your client to use it. If you're going to use the same spatula to scoop back into the product, you would want to ensure that you clean off any excess product from your spoon or the spatula that you're using. Sanitize your spatula or spoon, let the alcohol dry, then wipe it off before you dip back into the product. When it comes to your tools, here's how to work in the most clean and sanitary manner. Once you're done using your brushes, you're going to use the Clean Act Brush and Sponge Cleanser. Simply open it, put a little bit of water into the product, moisten your brush with a little bit of water, rub your brush through the cleanser, then use clean hands to work the shampoo through the brush. Once you get most of the product out, run it under water to rinse the additional product, dirt, and cleanser out of the brush. Once all of the product and cleanser is removed from the brush, simply set it on a clean towel to dry overnight. Once the brush is dry, take your cosmetic sanitizer or your 70% alcohol, spray your brush, and then let the alcohol dry. Then you'll have a clean and sanitized brush. When it comes to another one of my favorite products, the Blenderful is a sponge. Since sponges are porous, they easily can absorb bacteria and dirt. So in the case of a sponge, you never want to reuse sponges from one client to the next. So my recommendation for demonstrating the usage of a sponge is to use one of our famous non-latex disposable sponges. Just like the Blenderful, these can also be moistened underwater and wrung out so they become soft and fluffy, so it can mimic the usage of the sponge. You can let your client know the quality is not as high as the Blenderful, but for demonstration purposes, this is how you're going to protect your client by using a disposable sponge. Then you can recommend that they buy the Blenderful because using the Blenderful on yourself is perfectly fine, safe, and acceptable, and has a much better quality over time than using a disposable sponge. Remember how important it is to always stay clean and sanitized, because then everything you do from there can be fully focused on satisfying your client and having the best business possible. Thanks for tuning in.